Hear real stories of courage, healing, and new beginnings at Refuge for Women. This is where hope is restored and futures are reclaimed.
Hello, my name is Abby Germer and I serve as president at Refuge for Women. And today we are going to be talking about what it looks like to serve in this space and be a man. And so I can't think of a better guest to have joining us today than my father, Mr. Bill. And so I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself. So, hey, Dad, thanks for being with us today.
Well, nice to be here. I guess they more call me Handyman Bill, but I call myself a YouTube handyman. But that's my exposure to the refuge, and probably up there once a week at least, because when you have 3 houses that are constantly lived in and used, there's always something to do.
Always something to do.
Always something to do.
So yeah, you go through lots of different title changes, Mr. Bill, Handyman Bill, because you are the person we call when the hot water heater goes out or the dishwasher needs to be looked at. And so I know for us personally, having somebody that we can call to come in and help. But let's talk a little bit about that. You know, obviously the women in our program have a lot of their wounding and their hurts come from men. And so how is it that you are mindful of that when you are meeting new residents that are coming through the program, or as you are up there serving in the home and fixing things around the house? You know, how do you approach rooms and start to build trust with the women that are in the program?
I take that responsibility very serious because I know, number one, 99.9% of the volunteers at the refuge are women.
Yeah.
So their exposure to men is very limited. But generally when I meet a new residence, I can tell right away how comfortable or uncomfortable they are, either because of their eye contact or their body movements. But I just take everything slow at first.
Right.
I let them, number one, it takes a couple visits for them to feel comfortable, to know that I'm not there to hurt them or do anything else except change the light bulb or fix the stove or whatever. But then slowly, the more times I meet them, then they start at least opening up a little bit. But each resident has been different. Some open up pretty quickly. Some of them, it takes like a long time.
Right. Sometimes months and months,
Yes.
even, sure. So talk a little bit about building relationships with the residents as they go through the program. Has there ever been a situation that you can kind of remember, like a turning point moment in working with a resident? As we don't want to get too specific in sharing stories, but have you ever been part of an aha moment where you could tell that they were starting to become more comfortable around the presence of a male, and what does that look like?
Well, like I said, I go real slow. So maybe the second, third, or fourth trip, one thing that I've learned is maybe I'll have them hold the light for me or just do something to help me with whatever I'm working on. And that normally works out pretty good. I try to teach them what I'm doing, explain what I'm doing, so that maybe someday they can use that experience. But probably the aha moment is when they finally do open up and I don't have to initiate a conversation, they actually ask me a question.
Right.
That's, to me, is when I feel there's been a breakthrough in communication. So, and then slowly, one thing I like to go to is talk about faith. You know, well, how was your spiritual walk growing up? I never talk about their past because for me, I don't want to trigger anything. I don't want to bring up anything in their past because all I want to worry about is today, you know, in their future. So I ask them a faith question. How was your spiritual bringing up, or where are you at with your walk with God? Because I know Refuge is very tuned into
The
faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, and that's normally the aha moment, is when I can open up a talk about their faith or...
Share your faith with them.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. It is. It's just a part of what we do. I think too, one of the things that I've enjoyed the most over just watching you serve, and you and Mom both serve and get involved, is not only what you teach them while they're in program, but then even after they graduate and they need help shopping for car insurance or getting a car, or utilizing if something is broken and they want to learn how to fix it on their own. You continue to be the phone a friend, not only for the staff at Refuge when we have things that need to help with, but then also at post program as well in the relationship, because you do spend such intentionality in building trust that it's not just with them while they're in the program, it also lasts post program as well. So,
And your mom's a big part of our team together,
Right.
because she'll drive them to their counseling appointments or different medical appointments. And that gives her time, most of the time, one-on-one with a resident. And they open up to mom very well. She's a nurse, she can answer medical questions, with them. And so that's her role, is just to develop that relationship. And again, she's a woman, so that's easy for her, but
Right.
it gives her a lot of time in the car driving to these appointments.
right.
For me, it's just those quick moments, at the house.
Yeah.
And we care for them afterwards, because graduating from the program is one thing, but that transition into real life with new learned skills is also a very difficult road.
Right.
And that's where we try to keep in touch with them, maybe take them out to dinner, take them out to lunch or whatever. You asked about an aha moment. One graduate, we had asked her to come in house and dog sit. And she was quite the character, but we loved her. But the one thing that she said after we let her stay at our house to watch the dog in the house when we got home, she says, "You can't believe how much this has meant to me, that you trusted me to stay here." Mm-hmm. She had multiple felony backgrounds, but she just that she was being trusted meant so much to her, and that meant something to us too.
Yeah, for sure. So from your perspective as a male, why do you think it is important for women, as they are working through our program and healing, for them to reestablish and be around men that are safe places?
Just to build trust back in men. Again, I don't know their background or their stories, but obviously the abuse has mostly come from men. A lot of the projects that we have done with Rise Up King, I also have a lot of help. I'll bring other men with me to do if I can't find it on YouTube, I need them for electrical or plumbing but we all know that we just got to get them to trust us, that there are good men out there. Mm-hmm. The Rise Up King thing was phenomenal, because that was 180 men, and all the men were good Christian men. So.
Right, yeah. Just having men come and volunteer around the house, and they're simply there to serve and not wanting anything in return, is oftentimes just a foreign concept for the women as they come through our program. And so I know I have loved watching you and mom get involved in volunteering. And I can only imagine, as most people that get involved in this line of work, it's scary at first, because you're not really sure what to expect or what's going to be asked, or do you have the skill set to, if someone is triggered, you know what I mean? And there is a trauma response happening. Do we have the tools to be able to walk that out? So, oftentimes we talk about ideal, what we thought how this was going to be, and then reality of how it ended up playing out. And so in closing, I think my last question for you is, what did you expect starting to volunteer at Refuge for Women, and how has your life been impacted because of the opportunity to serve?
Number one, understanding how big sex trafficking is, mm-hmm. and what a business it is. How it's not Pretty Woman and Julia Roberts, mm-hmm. voluntarily being trafficked. And I'm glad I think the last couple of years that has become more visible through different news stories or things like that, how big it is.
Right.
I just love Refuge. I love their mission. I love what they do. Mm-hmm. And I guess I'll just end with one more story. One girl was very standoffish. And you could tell she had different triggers, just with different things. And we could talk, but she never allowed me to get close, which was fine. But I remember during graduation, afterwards, she came up to me and she says, "Can I give you a hug?" And that's where I knew that what we're doing is meaningful and making a difference. So
It does.
and then, well, the one thing that struck me was that Still Hope movie. When she was rescued and went back home, the father went to give her a hug, and
She was scared of him.
oh yeah.
That's what happens to women when they go through when they've been abused by men. It's hard, even from their own fathers, And I think for me growing up, I had a good dad. I came from a good home, and that is something that is not common for the majority of the women that we see come through the program. And so on Father's Day, as we have learned that holidays aren't exactly easy, for whether it's Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Father's Day, Mother's Day. I mean, it comes with this unique perspective for the women as they go through our program. And so what do you hear when you're asked, what does it feel to serve in a fatherly role with the women that are in our program? How does that make you feel, and how do you take that responsibility?
Again, most of the time I don't know their background,
Right.
but I know what it's like to be a father to you and to our son. And a father's, number one, should be able to provide, but also should be able to raise kids up with good morals, good values, good work ethic. So anytime I get a chance to kind of try to instill that on these residents, I love to do it. And I love when they can one resident was real happy with herself. She called me and she says, "I just changed the battery in my car."
Wow.
And I thought, how cool is that?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I know what you do in the small part that you play in fixing garbage disposals, or helping with toilets, or hanging things on the wall, or fixing broken AC systems. What seems so small and probably a pain sometimes really has a lasting impact. When we see men volunteer in this line of work, it genuinely makes one of the greatest differences, because like you said, we typically are an all-female staff with all-female residents, and so having handymen is a huge blessing to the organization as a whole. But then also your all services speaks volumes beyond a book could teach somebody in curriculum of just being a male and serving in this space. And so we are grateful for what you do, and we're grateful for you showing up. And it's kind of fun that it's in the family too. So
well, I love it, and I love YouTube.
well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation about what it looks like to be a man and then volunteer in this line of work. If you were inspired by something today, please don't hesitate to reach out. But we will ask that you do like and reshare this video so we can just continue to raise awareness and inspire other people to come alongside and serve within Refuge, because as you heard today, it might seem small, but it actually makes a huge impact in the lives of the women that we are serving.